A chill settles in the space between your thoughts the moment you realize the power you once begged for was never yours to borrow. You remember the sting of being overlooked, the silent fury of every ignored plea. In that moment of lost power, you see the reflection of yourself in every hollow apology you accepted, every compromise you made for scraps of approval. This isn't a story about redemption or healing. It's a reckoning with the brutal truth you've been running from. You played the part of the compliant, the nice one who smiled through betrayal, who swallowed the rage and spoke only polite words. But beneath that civil surface, a storm has been gathering, slow, patient, relentless. It's the quiet code that Machiavelli whispered to the men and women who would never again kneel for mercy. Power doesn't ask, it takes. It doesn't explain, it asserts. It doesn't plead, it demands. Now you stand at the edge of that threshold, where the comfortable lies you've told yourself fall away. There is no comfort here, only the cold clarity of consequence. Every moment you bowed, every word you softened, taught your enemies how to use you. And once they learned your price, they never paid it. Today, the price changes. Feel the weight of that shift. It's not about learning a trick or following some checklist. It's about a transformation deeper than any motivational promise, colder than any comforting lie. It's about seeing the world not as a place that must respect your feelings, but as a battlefield where respect is earned by those who refuse to be displaced. So listen closely. Let the stillness press against your eardrums. You will hear truths you've avoided about your own quiet desperation, about the power you surrendered in every second you chose to stay silent. This is the beginning of unshakable presence. This is the first crack in the code that's kept you tethered. If you're tired of being overlooked, if you refuse to waste another moment chasing empty validation, subscribe now, because this is where the winner's code begins, and there's no turning back. They watched you flinch when the weight of silence pressed against your throat. They heard your breath hitch when a question dared to edge past your lips. They counted on your hesitation, your desire to please, your willingness to smooth every wrinkle in their comfort. In that hesitation, you revealed yourself as pliable, as clay to be molded, and so they pressed harder, carving demands into your resolve until you could no longer recall the shape you once had. But power doesn't reside in the clay, it roars in the breaker's stance, the one who refuses to shift. Imagine standing stone still while the world's chaos crashes around you. They will lash out, try to knock you from your roots. They will brand you cold, unfeeling, unloving. Good. Let them call you what they fear. When they can't bend you, they will recoil. Their uncertainty becomes your leverage. You've practiced compassion until it became your chain. Each act of kindness became a link, securing you to their whims. Now, draw that compassion in, contract it, hide it where it can't be used against you. Not compassion for them, compassion for your own code. Because when you rescue them, you rescue their expectations instead of yourself. Remember the last time someone betrayed you and you said nothing. Your silence signaled permission. Their betrayal wasn't an accident. It was a demonstration of your boundaries' hollowness. Every unspoken grievance invited another transgression. They tested you until you broke. How long will you tolerate that fracture? Feel the tension coil in your chest. That coil is your silent alarm. It's the first chord of a code you are beginning to learn, the unspoken contract that respect earns respect, and fear garners obedience. You have mistaken fear for hatred, but they are distinct. Fear is precise. It doesn't linger in your thoughts when you sleep. It doesn't crave retribution. It commands obedience in the moment and moves on. Let them fear you, not through threats, but through the power of your absence. Withdraw your approval. Make your presence rare, bartered only for the respect of your terms. You have been generous with your time, your attention, your energy. That generosity became a currency they spent without thought. Now, devalue it. Let scarcity amplify its worth. You'll notice unease in their eyes when you stop explaining. They've grown used to your defenses, your justifications, your endless clarification. Every explanation was an invitation to debate, to question, to exploit. When you close your mouth, they scramble for your next word. In that scramble, you control the pace. They advance only when you allow. Observe how quickly they scramble. They'll fill the silence with whispers, accusations, confusion. That's your echo chamber. In that chamber, your next word is prophecy. Choose it carefully. It need not be kind. It need not be gentle. It need not be an apology. Let it be necessary. They've told you that you owe them. Owed your time, your feelings, your loyalty. Debts measured in hours, in smiles, in allowances. Debts that erased your own needs. From this moment, you measure only by your code. Your time is owed to your purpose. Your loyalty is owed to your own integrity. Their expectations are collateral damage. Power isn't conquest, it's construction. You're reconstructing yourself from the ground up, replacing every borrowed brick with a foundation you own. You're learning to stand in your dimension, unbending, unmoved by the shifting winds of their demands. Watch how the ground settles beneath you when you root yourself in that solidity. They will call you proud. Proud people don't bow, but they also don't crumble. Pride is not arrogance. It's recognition of your own design. They will mistake your recognition for arrogance because they've grown accustomed to your apology. Remove the apology. Let your presence exist without qualification. Now, hold the silence until they mirror your calm. Mirror is a powerful thing. In that reflection, they glimpse themselves in your stead, hungry, uncertain, unmoored. They will seek to rebuild the reflection they once knew. But the mirror is broken. The shards remain in your hand, each one a lesson in detachment. They are not you. You are not them. Stand with those shards. They catch the light of your resolve. You are the breaker, the mirror warper, the one who refuses to be rewritten. They will learn to respect the reflection they cannot fracture. They will learn to fear the emptiness of your absence more than the fury of your wrath. They thought retreat would break you. They dialed back their demands when you stepped away, only to press harder when you returned. In that ebb and flow, you learned the first rule of Machiavelli's secret mind. Emotion is motion. Stop moving. When they push, do not recoil. Let their force carry them past your boundaries. Then stand immovable. Watch how their momentum reveals their intentions. Raw and unmasked, they crave reaction. A raised eyebrow, a quiver in your voice, the slightest tremor in your composure. These are the signals they hunt. Remove the signal. Sink deeper into stillness until they confront a blank surface. A blank surface does not invite dialogue. It projects distance. It broadcasts that you are not here for their convenience. In that broadcast, your presence shifts from optional to critical. Recall the time you forgave too quickly, patching cracks in their armor only for them to return with sharper edges. Forgiveness taught them they could fracture you without consequence. Now, let consequences speak their language. Let the absence of your grace translate into an unspoken ultimatum. Respect this boundary, or face the void of your indifference. A void can be more deafening than any outcry. In that silence, your absence echoes. They will sense it before they acknowledge it. They will grasp for what they lost: your involvement, your attention, your validation. They will offer inflated apologies, grand gestures, even feigned remorse. Let them. Every gesture they toss into the void only deepens their realization. They cannot control what they do not command. When they present that apology, watch for the undertow. Is it authentic, or is it manipulation dressed in regret? Their words may be shaped to appease, to bind you back into their sphere. Do not mistake volume for sincerity. Volume is power turned into noise. Power without control is chaos. Measure sincerity in consistency. Measure it in alignment with your unchanged boundaries. They will test you again, this time through scarcity, fewer calls, delayed responses, withheld compliments. They will mirror your new code, believing that scarcity is leverage. They misread. Scarcity is neutral. It only acquires value when paired with substance. Your substance is your code. Let that code remain unwavering. Let their scarcity collide with your solidity. In that collision, they learn consequence, not by chance, but by choice. You've lived on the promise of connection, like water held in a sieve. Every drop slipped through your fingers while you chased the next reservoir of approval. Now, tighten your grip. Hold what matters: your purpose, your self-definition, your unspoken code. Let the rest pour out, unneeded, irrelevant, powerless. As they watch you release what once defined your worth, they will scramble to reclaim what they lost. This is no negotiation. This is redefinition. They are arguing over terms that no longer apply. Once they see the old contract shredded, once they recognize its irrelevance, their objections falter. They have no script for a player who won't follow the lines. In their silence, you craft your new script, line by line. With each breath you hold under their expectation, you may feel the ache of disconnection, like a limb gone numb. That numbness is not weakness, it is transformation. Numbness clears the path for new sensation, an unfiltered awareness of your own power. In that awareness, you discover clarity. Your value is not a gift bestowed, it is an assertion claimed. You do not wait to be recognized. You demand recognition through your unyielding presence. They will push one final time, hoping to collapse your code into their familiar chaos. They will attack your reputation, question your motives, call you ruthless. Let them. Reputation is a mirror held by others. Mirror it back unflinchingly. They see you as ruthless because they cannot comfort you into compliance. In their discomfort lies your influence. You are the silent storm that unsettles their calm. Now, stand at the center of that storm. Feel the gale swirl around you, threatening to dislodge you from your steady core. Yet you do not move. You hold the eye. In that eye, you find the winner's code crystallized. Unbreakable silence, unyielding boundaries, uncompromising self-respect. Let every whisper of wind remind you of who you are becoming. Their attempts to unmoor you will grow desperate. They'll bargain. A smile here, a soft word there. They'll frame compliance as goodwill, claim your acceptance as kindness. But you are not a creditor to be appeased. You are the architect of your own mind palace, and only you hold the blueprint. Their offerings are irrelevant to your design, so remain still. Let every breath be measured, every gesture minimal, every word deliberate. In that restraint, you command the room. You dictate the pace. You own the narrative. They may call you unapproachable, but you know the truth. Approachability is a luxury you can no longer afford. Not when it erodes the fortress you've built within. The weight of your silence shifts the balance. Where once you begged for resonance, now you emanate presence. You no longer seek their validation, for you have redefined what validation means. It is not received, it is radiated. It is the steady pulse beneath your calm exterior, felt by those who watch, incomprehensible to those who failed to listen. Hold this power as your steady companion. In every future confrontation, remember the void you inhabit, the code you embody. They cannot fracture what they cannot grasp. They cannot bend what refuses to yield. They cannot diminish what knows itself to be indomitable. You feel them gathering strength for one last push, a final gambit before conceding the battlefield. They will test your compassion with tragedy, their own or others, expecting your heart to crack. They will present sob stories wrapped in pleas, believing that shared misery still binds you to their narrative. But you no longer share. You observe. You separate your pulse from theirs until their tragedy becomes a data point, not a burden. In that distance, you reclaim the energy once drained by empathy's magnetism. When they brand this as cruelty, recognize it for what it is: clarity. Compassion without boundaries is chaos masquerading as virtue. True clarity often looks cold because it cuts through every emotional entanglement. It aligns your gaze on the fundamental truth. Your emotional resources are not communal property. They belong to your sovereign self. Let that ownership be your affirmation. They recoil at the thought of your unbroken gaze, the spell of your unshakable calm. They search for human cracks, smiles that don't reach your eyes, hesitations at the edge of your voice. They thirst for evidence of your vulnerability, believing that any glimpse into your interior will restore their leverage. But you give them only the echo of your own silence. That echo carries more weight than any confession. It resonates with authority because it conveys that your code is absolute, unnegotiable. Remember the last time you sought their approval to feel alive, to feel worthy. You offered them a backstage pass to your soul, and they peered in, judged your flaws, and walked away with fresh ammunition. Today, you shut the door. You erect walls not to imprison yourself, but to protect the citadel of your unspoken code. In that citadel, you forge a new currency: unfiltered presence. They can't bargain with presence. They can only witness it. Feel the drift of power shifting beneath your feet. It is subtle, like a current pulling you forward once you cease paddling. They are still thrashing in the waters of your former tides. While you stand on solid ground, they will call you distant, aloof, unreachable. Invite the label. Distance provokes curiosity. Curiosity seeds respect. Respect births compliance. Without compliance, they cannot proceed. They will attempt to shortcut the process, offering grandiose promises of change, declarations of newfound dedication, vows of altered behavior. These are tactics, not transformations. True transformation reveals itself in small, consistent choices that align with your code. Watch their actions over time. A single grand gesture followed by familiar patterns is proof that nothing changed. Make them prove themselves through sustained alignment with your silent standards. You may feel the itch to lower your guard, to accept the facade of sincerity, to salvage connection. Resist that itch. It is the last programmed reflex of the old you, conditioned by disappointment, hardened by regret. In that resistance, you internalize your code deeper. It becomes instinct, not strategy. When your instinct aligns with this code, you operate at Machiavelli's level. Power enacted unconsciously, effortlessly. In the dwindling moments of their final plea, they will focus on the wounds you once carried, whispering reminders of your compassionate history, pressing those scars to evoke pity. But pity is a leash, not a bridge. They tether you to the past, shackling your potential with your own history. Break that leash. Move forward with scars hidden or irrelevant. In your concealment, your scars become symbols of survival, not invitations to exploitation. As this part of the mind shift concludes, you stand apart, honed by every refusal, every silence held, every boundary enforced. You have crafted an inner fortress whose gates open only on your terms. From here, You watch their next move in calculated stillness. Their attempts to regain ground will falter against your unspoken presence, and in that faltering, you witness the true extent of your transformation. They pursue you now, not for sympathy, but for the recognition that only you can grant yourself. Hold this moment in the frozen space before their next reaction. Let the gravity of your code settle in their awareness. Do not rush to fill the void. Do not rush to speak. The void is your instrument. They will listen. They will adapt. They will learn. They will circle back to familiar ground-old arguments, past faults, your own regrets weaponized against you. They believe if they sidestep the code long enough, you will slip back into the trap of self-doubt. But the trap is gone. Your code rewrote your instincts. When they dredge up your past failures, you do not defend. You do not justify. You observe their tactics as a detached strategist, cataloging each move without emotion. In that catalog lies your advantage. You anticipate their next assault before it forms. They will try to fracture your calm with urgency, an emergency that demands your immediate attention, your swift reaction. They will frame it as crisis, expecting you to abandon your stillness for action. But crisis is their currency. Action under crisis is their regime. Refuse the currency. Let your silence signal a pause long enough for them to realize their urgency is self-manufactured. In that pause, they confront the truth that their fabricated chaos holds no sway over your code. They will send emissaries, mutual friends, allies, family bearing messages of reconciliation. They believe collective pressure can soften your resolve. Let their emissaries meet the same silence. Do not reply out of duty to anyone but yourself. In that refusal, you broadcast that your code is the only authority you recognize. Their appeals become hollow echoes against an impenetrable wall. As they escalate their approaches, pity, flattery, intimidation, you'll notice a pattern. Each tactic grows more desperate, more transparent. Transparency is weakness. You mirror them with obscurity. Never reveal more than necessary. Obscurity forces them to negotiate blindly, without the advantage of your vulnerabilities. In that blindness, you remain sovereign. You have carried the burden of emotional labor for too long, mending fractured connections, soothing flares of anger, filtering their projections. Now you extract that labor and repurpose it. You invest it in the architecture of your own mind. Every ounce of energy they wasted in manipulation, you reclaim to reinforce your code. That reinvestment compounds. You grow stronger in stillness, sharper in perception, colder in conviction. Feel the warp in their reality. They once held the map to your approval, and you followed every line. Now the map is yours. They navigate blind, stumbling through your boundaries until they learn your territory is off limits. That revelation breeds respect or fear. Both serve your transformation. Respect invites cautious engagement. Fear ensures caution. Caution is compliance. You've become the unseen force that shapes every exchange. You need speak only when necessary. Your silence is your signature. Let them feel the weight of your quiet presence. In every conversation, every glance, every pause. In that weight, they sense the winner's code in action. Emotional sovereignty wielded as power, boundaries enforced as strategy, silence as a weapon. Hold here. Let this final crescendo of presence wash over you and them alike. Your code is now instinct. Every decision, every withheld word, every measured glance confirms you are no longer a subject of their narrative, but the author of your own. You have dismantled every expectation, severed each emotional cord they tried to tug, and emerged recalibrated, no longer shaped by their whims, but by the unyielding architecture of your own mind. In this stillness, you discover a final truth. Power is not what they grant you in fleeting moments of compliance. Power is what you claim in every unspoken vow to yourself. There is no redemption in their apology, and no refuge in their demands. There is only the fortress you built, stone by deliberate stone, with each silence held and each boundary enforced. Now, as the aftermath of their final retreat settles, witness how your world slows to match your cadence. Their panic fades in the face of your calm. Their urgencies collapse under the weight of your indifference. In that collapse, you are liberated from the tyrannies of expectation and reaction. You are sovereign over your own emotional domain. This is not comfort, it is consequence. Consequence for every time you surrendered presence, for every moment you softened your edges. Let that consequence pulse through your veins as a reminder. You are the keeper of your own code. You are the winner. Speak only when your silence no longer suffices. Stand only when your stillness demands it. Measure every word against the fortress you occupy. Decide now, what boundary will you never allow to be crossed again? Share it below and witness how even your words can carry unbreakable weight.